right? So children, we're going to learn about the rest of trigonometry today, right? So children, we're going to learn about bearings and angle of elevation and depression, right? So these are the three things that we're going to learn about. Okay, so children, will start with bearings, right? This is a very easy topic, children, right? So there are four cardinal directions. Children, we call them cardinal directions, right? We have north, south, east, west, right? So you all know these directions. We say Uttura, Dakuna, Peradiga, Batahira. You all know this in Sinhala as well, right? So these are the four directions, right? North, south, east, and west, right?
Yeah, not Peradiga, no, it's Naginahira.
Naginahira, sorry. Right. Yes. So it turns out I don't know it in single, but you all know it. Right.
Yes.
Okay. So children, the four directions are marked like this. Right, north, south, east, and west. You all know the directions. Children, if you all now you all know that north is up, south is down. Right. If you get confused with east and west, how I remember it is west rhymes with left. So west is to the left. You can remember it that way. Right. So west is to the left and east is to the right. Okay. Right. Then children, right. So let's look at what we use these directions for. Children, a bearing is the direction of one place from another using due north as the reference. Right? We use north as the reference and we tell the direction as an angle. That's what bearings are. Right? So let's look at how we do this. Now children, we use three-figure bearings. Right, where north is 0 0 0, north is 0 0 0, right, and all other directions are measured in a clockwise angle from north. Children, you all know what clockwise means. Clockwise means the direction in which the clock hands turn, right? Orolosu katuwa karakena විදිහ කියන්නේ, right? So this way, this is clockwise. Okay, that is the clockwise direction, children. Right? Yes. So Sanuda says that north to east is 90 degrees. That is correct, Puta. Right? So you
Yes.
start from the north. Very good. You go east is 90 degrees. That's a right angle. You all can see. Right? That is exactly correct. Right? Okay. Now, children, if I draw, right, a small sort of compass, we have north, east, south, west, and we have also the middle directions, northeast, southeast, southwest, and northwest, right? So these are the different directions. Now, children, if we mark these directions, right, north is 0 0 0. Like Sanuda just said, northeast is going to be 45 because it is halfway to east, right? Not 90. Between 0 and 90 is 45 degrees, right? And then when you go to east, children, that is 90 degrees, right? So we keep going in increments of 45 degrees, right? So we have 135 at southeast, and south is 180 because one full straight line or half circle, right, from north to south. Then we have 225, west is 270, and northwest is 350, right? Yes, after that we have reflex angle. That is correct, right? So children, you all can see how we start at 0 from north and we slowly go clockwise until we go one full circle, right? Until we go one full circle. This is how you measure bearings, children, right? And children, another important thing is angles less than 100 have a 0 in front. You can see my 45 and 90, there is a 0 45 and 0 90. That is to make them three-figure bearings, children, right? So we have to always write them as 3 digits. So if it's less than 100, you put a 0 in front. Okay, right. Now children, let's look at an example, right? So imagine this situation here. You have two towns, town A and town B. I have marked the north direction from both towns with a 000. Okay, right. So children, to find the bearing of town B from town A. So children, when you talk about bearing, you're always talking about looking at one place from another, right? You're looking at one place from another. So in this case, children, you all are in town A. From town A, you're looking at town B. Okay, what do? You stand at town A and you face north. That's the first thing. Then you turn clockwise until you are facing town B. So children, you all are facing north and you turn clockwise until you face town B, right? You turn clockwise. The angle you have turned through is the three-figure bearing of town B from town A, right? So what is that angle, children? That angle is 74 degrees, right? So you turn 74 degrees, children, and that is the bearing of town B from town A. The bearing of town B from town A is 074 degrees, because children, we have to make it three figures, so we put a 0 in front. Is that clear, children? Right? If there are any questions, ask. Okay. Now we'll also look at town A from town B. Now you all are standing at town B. Okay. So to find this bearing, you stand at town B. Okay. So you all are standing facing north. And you turn clockwise until you are facing town A. So you turn clockwise until you face. So children, remember, you can't go this way. You can't go the other way. You have to always go clockwise only. You turn clockwise until you face town A, right? And this angle, now we don't know what the angle is yet. We'll find the angle, right? This angle is the three-figure bearing of town A from town B. Now children, we'll try to find this angle, right? So children, one thing you can do is, so Dilan teacher, they have done these parallel lines, haven't they?
Yes, they know.
Right. So children, you all know that these two lines are parallel. They are both facing north. That means you can see that there is a U shape here, right? That means children, if I take this angle to be X, or we'll take it to be theta, will you? Right? If this is theta, 74 plus theta should give us 180, right? So from 180, I subtract 74, right? I get theta is equal to, I think that comes to 106, right? So that means children, this angle is 106. So therefore, to find this one, from 360 I subtract 106, and that gives me the bearing of town A from town B. Right? Now children, I have actually done it another way as well, so I will show you what that is, right? So I have taken them, now you know they are parallel lines, right? And you know that this is an alternate angle, children. You know, in parallel lines the alternate angles are equal, right? So from alternate angles, children, we know that this big angle is 180. It's a straight line, right? So if we add 180 and 74, you get 254. Yes, Praveen, that is correct. 254 degrees is the angle. So that means, children, the bearing of town A from town B is 254 degrees. So what did we learn? The bearing of town B from town A is 74 degrees. The bearing of town A from town B is 254 degrees, right? Okay, so children, is this clear? Is this example clear? Can I get some replies? So our usual children are also quiet today. Only Sanuda, Praveen, Litil.
Even Anuja.
Yeah, Anuj is also quiet. Okay, so now I'm seeing some names from usual. Omira is replying. Okay, right. Okay, good. All right. Anuj, clear now?
Yes, sir. Be
Okay,
clear.
very good. Children, I have another example for you. So we'll look at that example.
Sadhu teacher, can
Yes.
I just make a small announcement?
Yeah, of course.
Children, if you all are joining to this meeting, please come up with your name. So I don't admit anyone who is coming with Samsung Galaxy and all those things.
That's
It's
true.
a kind request because Sadhu
We had
teacher,
some.
you can understand, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
we
That's right.
cannot see your faces also, right? So please come
Yes,
with the name.
that's
Thank
right,
you.
children. Right, because there are children who want to disturb a lesson of children. Right.
Yes.
So therefore, make sure you come with your proper name so we can admit you. Right. Okay. So children, now let's go to the next example. Right. So children, we have a man standing at point A on level ground. He observes a mango tree at point C, a distance of 100 meters away from him on a bearing of 127 degrees. He also observes a coconut tree at point B, which is to the south of point A and to the west of point C. Okay, children, here's a diagram. Let's read it again together. Okay, so children, you all have to read this with me. Okay, a man standing at point A. Where is the man? The man is at point A on level ground, that means on flat ground. He observes a mango tree at point C. So children, at point C, what do we have? A mango tree. Distance of 100 meters. So children, that distance from A to C is 100 meters, right? On a bearing of 127 degrees. So children, you all can see from the north, clockwise 127 degrees. That is a bearing of 127. He also observes a coconut tree at point B, which is to the south of A, right? So south of point A and to the west of point C, right? So you can see this diagram has marked all the points correctly, right? Now children, the question is find the distance AB between the man and the coconut tree to the nearest meter, right? The distance between the man, that is AB, and the coconut tree, right, to the nearest meter. Now children, first we'll mark some of the other information. Now you know that this distance is 100. AC is 100, right? And also children, we know that this angle at B is going to be a right angle. Why? It says clearly that B is south of A and west of C. That means A is directly north of B and C is directly east of B. That means it's going to be a right angle, children. Isn't it? Then also children, now we can figure out this angle at A. Why? 180 minus 127, that gives us 53. This is our next angle. Okay, right. Then children, remember, we are looking for AB, right? That's what we're looking for. Now children, what trigonometric, now children, I want you to answer, what trigonometric function should we use for this one? Sine, cos or tan? Which ratio? Sanuda says cos. What about the others? Is Sanuda correct? Is Sanuda Puta correct? What do the others say? Should we use sine ratio, cos ratio or tan ratio? Children, Praveen says tan. Okay. Little, okay. Alright, so a lot of people are saying cos. Right. So children, remember, this is the angle in focus. This is the, yes.
Sadhuputa, who
Yeah.
said tan?
Praveen said tan.
Praveen, can you say the tan ratio, what we are going to use? If you can unmute or send it to Sadhun teacher, what we use for tan, the sides?
X.
Praveen Puta? Okay. It's a mistake, isn't it?
Ah, yes,
Sorry.
yeah.
Okay, right. Okay.
Right. Yes. So, so children, I have a small request from Shamaradua to give a small explanation on sine, cos, and tan. So, children, sine, cos, and tan is SOHCAHTOA, right? So, children, once again, that's a good question because this is good for everyone to revise. Children, sine theta is opposite over hypotenuse, right? Cos theta is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tan theta is opposite over adjacent, right? So in a in a right angle triangle, right, this is opposite, this is adjacent, and this is hypotenuse if this is the angle in focus, right? So always sine is going to be opposite over hypotenuse, cos is going to be adjacent over hypotenuse, and tan is going to be opposite over adjacent. So for this question, children, we are going to use cos because the angle is 53, right? This is the adjacent side, this is the hypotenuse. So with adjacent and hypotenuse, we use cos, right? With adjacent and hypotenuse, we use cos. Shamaradu, is that clear? Right, okay. She says it's clear. Right. So children, let's use cos and see what the answer is. Okay, so let's use cos. So the angle is 53, children, right? So AB over 100, right? So cos 53, we have to look for the table, right? So, okay, first of all, we'll multiply the 100 by the cos 53, right? So AB is equal to 100 times cos 53. So children, when you look through your table for cos 53, the value you get is 0.6018. Okay. Venuja asks, what is theta? Good question. Thank you for asking that, Puta. Theta is just a notation we use for an unknown angle, right? I'm very happy you asked that, because a lot of children would keep quiet if they don't know what that is, right? So Puta, it's just an unknown angle, right? So when you have an unknown value, we say x. Like that, when we have an unknown angle, Puta, we use theta, right? There are some other symbols as well, like alpha, beta, all these variants that you hear with COVID, right? We use those for angles, right? Venuj, is it clear? Yes, okay. Right, so now children, when you multiply this, you get AB equals to 60.18. They are asking for the nearest meter. So I would say 60 meters is the answer. So children, this is an example of how to use bearings with trigonometry, right? How to use bearings with sine, cos and theta. Sorry, sine, cos and tan, right? Is that clear, children? Children, now this is the end of bearings. Next, I will explain to you angle of elevation and angle of... Sir, can you please tell me how we can find cos 53? Okay, that's a good question. Puta, we find cos 53 from the table. Okay, that's a really good question. Let's go to the table and show everyone how to find cos 53. Right. So children, let me go to the table. Right. Okay. So in the table, let's find cos 53. Is it here? Yes. Okay. So children, no, my mistake. Over here. All right. So children, you can see cos 53 is here. Right? 0.6018. Praveen, is it clear? Praveen? Yes, Praveen, make sure, if you didn't, I don't know whether you watched it. If you didn't watch the lesson, the video recording I sent it, watch it, okay? Right, that explains how to clearly find it. Right, so that is how we got 0.6018, right? So once we get that, we can substitute 6018 in the in our equation, right? So you can see, children, I've taken that value 6018 and I've substituted it here. Right? Okay, that's a good question. So is there any term called delta to define the angle, just like theta? So Puta, there is a Greek letter called delta, but we don't usually use it for angles, Delaney teacher, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Delta we use for the simple, like small values, we use delta, but
Yes.
all these are letters, Greek letters. So
Yes.
you don't have to worry about this.
So children, usually delta we use for change. So if you
Yes,
want to say
change.
from this value to
A
this
small
value,
change.
yeah. If you all do
Small
science,
change.
yes, a small change, right? Is delta, is simple, delta is small change. So
Yes.
for chemistry and all that, you use it, right? So delta usually not for angles, Buddha. Okay. All right. So let's go on. Yes, in physics we use it. Yes. So our children know all these things. Okay. Now children, let's go to angle of elevation, right? Okay. What is angle of elevation? Let's have a look. So children, look at this diagram. Now here you have a level ground, right? And we have some kind of pole, right? We'll say it's a light pole, right? Light convoc, right? Okay. So children, you're standing at this angle E on the ground and you're looking up at the top of the pole. Okay. Children, the angle through which you raise your eyes to look up at an object higher than you is called the angle of elevation. That means, children, now you're looking at ground level. To look up at the light, children, don't you look upwards. right? You look upwards. That angle that you look up is called the angle of elevation, right? Angle of elevation, right? So children, in this diagram, the angle of elevation is labeled E. You can see that is the angle of elevation, the angle you look upwards at the top of the pole, right? Children, if you look closely, you can see there is a right angle triangle formed by the top of the pole, right? Then the base of the pole and your position. Can you see? There's a right angle triangle, right? You can use trigonometry to work out the lengths and the angles in this triangle, right? You can use trigonometry to work them out. Got it, children? Right? So this is the angle of elevation. Now let's look at an example, right? Using angle of elevation. So I'll use the same example, right? So here we have the same diagram. So children, imagine the pole is 2.5 meters high and you are standing 3 meters from the base of the pole. What is the angle of elevation, right? So children, let's mark those values. So the pole is 2.5 or 2.5 meters high. You're standing 3 meters from the pole, right? So now children, to find this angle, we use tan. Why? Tan is opposite over adjacent. Yes, yes, Sanuja, that is correct. Very good. Opposite over adjacent is tan. Right, so I hope that's clear with everyone now. Okay, so children, tan E is 2.5 over 3, right? So children, 2.5 divided by 3 to 4 decimal places is 0.8333, right? Now you take tan inverse of 0.8333. So children, you find this value from the table, obviously, right? So once you find it from the table, you will see that E is 39 degrees and 48 minutes, right? 39 degrees and 48 minutes. That is the angle of elevation that you're looking up at the pole. Okay, children, any questions about angle of elevation? Any questions, children? So now I'm done explaining. Yeah, yes, Anuja? Can't hear you, Anuja. I think your mic is on mute.
Sir, can sir say that small theory again to remember those things? Tan is equals to adjacent over A, like that. That small formula.
Sokato.
Sokato.
Thank you, madam.
It's this one, Buddha.
You're
So
welcome.
this one, Buddha.
Yes.
Sokato, Buddha. Right?
Yes,
Okay.
just to remember.
Right. You took it down?
No, sir.
Okay. So children, does anyone else have any questions? So Sanudha says that he understood angle of elevation. Now children, next I'm going to go to angle of depression. Okay, it's very similar, right? Angle of elevation is the angle you look up. Angle of depression is the angle you look down, children. That's it, right? So I'll show you an example now. Right, Anuja, let me know when you're done so I can go to the next slide.
Yes, Sadhu teacher, they can understand like depression is going down, right? So
Yes.
depress,
Depress.
coming down.
Correct.
Yes. So
And
keep
elevate
that
is
in your
going up.
mind, then
Yes.
going up.
Okay, sir.
Right. Okay, so children, let's look at an example for angle of depression. Now children, you can see here I have drawn sea level and there's a cliff, right? So from the cliff, this person is looking down at the ship on the sea. Okay, so this is going to be angle of depression, children, because he's looking down, right? So the angle through which you lower your eyes, right, from the horizontal to look down at an object lower than you is called the angle of depression, right? So children, now imagine this. Imagine you're standing and let's say you have a dog, right? I don't know how many of you have pets, right? Let's say you have a dog. Your dog comes in front of you. Is your dog as tall as you are? No, right? So you don't talk to your dog like this. You look down at the dog, right? So you have to lower your eyes to look down. That is the angle of depression. From the horizontal, you look down. That angle is the angle of depression, right? So now next time you look down at your pet, at your dog or your cat, you will remember Sandun sir said this is the angle of depression, right? So remember that, children. Okay. In this diagram, the angle of depression is labeled D, right? So children, always with the horizontal, right? From the horizontal upwards is elevation, from the horizontal downwards is depression, right? So again, children, you can notice there's a right angle triangle formed by the ship, right? Then the vertical length from the ship to the horizontal over here and your position, right? So you can see this is a right angle triangle. You can work out angles and lengths of this triangle with trigonometry again, right? So let me show you an example. Okay, right. So children, I'll take the same diagram. Given that the top of the cliff is 300 meters above sea level, so the cliff is 300 meters above sea level, it's a tall cliff, right? And the angle of depression to the ship is 25 degrees, right? How far out at sea is the ship, right? So that means, children, the height from the sea level to the top of the cliff is 300, as I have marked, right? And the angle of depression is 25 degrees, and they're asking for x. X is the distance from the cliff to the sea. I don't know if this is relevant. Why do you call this? Okay, so Shamar asked a good question. He's asking, so I don't know if this is relevant, but why do you call this angle of depression? It's relevant though, because we say depression. When we say depressed, children, what do we say? Depress means going down, right? Yes, depress is going down. Elevate means go up. So that's why when we say angle of elevation, we go upward angle, right? When we say angle of depression, that's the downward angle, right? So depression is another word for downwards. That's why we call it angle of depression, right? So it's relevant. It's related. Is it clear though? Right. So now, children, we have to find x. Okay. So now, children, tell me, which of the three trigonometric ratios, sine, cos, or tan, do we use to find this one, right? Which one do we use? Do we use sine, do we use cos, or do we use tan? Children, give me your answers. What do you think? Yes, Manindu says tan. Yes. What about the others? What do you think? Which
Tan
one should we
ratio,
use?
sir.
Which one, Puta?
Tan ratios. Tan.
Yes, it should be tan. Yes, so everyone is saying that it's tan. Very good, right? So it's going to be tan because it's opposite over adjacent, right? So here we have tan as opposite over adjacent. So children, opposite here is 300, adjacent is x, right? So we take 300 over x is tan 25, right? So children, we can rearrange this, right? So we can multiply the x by the tan 25 and then divide by tan 25. So once you rearrange it, you get x equals to 300 divided by tan 25, children, right? So tan 25, we have to look for this value in the trig table. Okay, so when you look for the value, you get 0.4663. Okay, now children, 300 divide by 0.4663, you get 643.4. So if I round it to the nearest meter, children, I get 643 meters as my answer, right? This is the distance. So the ship is 643 meters out at sea, right? Children, is this clear? So now I am done with my explanation. I explained to you bearings, angle of elevation, and angle of depression. If anyone has any questions, you can ask me now, right? So next we are going to go to the questions, right? So you can ask me now. Does anyone have any questions?
Oh, I had lost the PDF sir sent about the tangents and all. to the group. Can sir resend it to the group?
What was that? What PDF do you want?
Sir, about the grafting, tangents and all those PDFs were there after the video.
Are you talking about the trigonometry table?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll send it again in the group. Actually, I can send it to you now. I'll send it to everyone here. In case any of you don't have a trig table, children, I'll send you a trig table. Anujaputa, you can download it from here, yes?
Okay, sir.
Yes. So, children, I sent, it'll take a second. Yes, so there you go. You can download it from there. If anyone doesn't have a trigonometry table or you couldn't get it from the WhatsApp group, you can download it from here. Children, any questions? Is this clear? Let me know if it's clear. Are all of these lessons clear, children? Right. Okay, Sanu says crystal clear. That's what I like to hear. All right. Okay, so I'm going to assume there are no questions because everyone is very, very quiet. Right. So,
Yes,
Delaney
sir.
teacher. Yes, okay. Delaney teacher, is there anything you would like to add? Shall we go to the questions?
Yeah, we'll go to the questions.
Sir,
Right.
that means sir, we take the tangent value and we do the normal division.
Yeah. Yes. Anuja, we only use the table to find the value. That's it. Okay?
Now I
Right.
got it very clearly, sir.
Okay. So you could see the moment of realization on his face. Right? Okay. Right. So children, let's go to the questions. Now, children, today we are going to do the questions a little bit differently. I'm not going to send you a separate sheet. I'm going to share the questions here on the screen and then we are going to discuss them together, right? So here's the first question. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to do it. And once you're done, we will discuss it, right? So children, get started. This is the first question. Find the height of the stupa, right? Children, once you all get an answer, please do send me a message. Send it privately so the others can't see it, right? As soon as you get your answer, send me a message, and once all of you have done the work, we'll discuss the question.
We shouldn't draw the question now, sir.
I think it'll be easy if you draw it. You can draw a triangle. You don't have to draw the stupa.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll take another 15 minutes to draw this. I know these kids, no?
Yeah, actually the picture is given for you all to take an idea. If
Yes.
we draw only a line, then you don't know why we are using these things. Okay.
Otherwise, 15 minutes later, if we ask student, are you done? No, sir, still drawing the stupa.
Right over.
Okay, so children, now you all can do the question.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Puza.
Sir, when I translated that 30 degrees to tangents, I got the answer now, sir. Then should I divide that from that 30 degrees or the answer I got?
Your question is not clear to me, Puza.
I got it. I will tell the answer.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, Anuja. It's tan 30. You have to take from the table. That table value only you have to use. Right? So tan is equal to opposite over adjacent. Right? So opposite only we have to find. Got it, Anuja? Okay,
Yes,
then opposite you have to find, and you have tan 30 equals to opposite over adjacent. So then adjacent is there. Therefore, you have to take the tan 30 value from the table and multiply it by 200.
Okay, madam. Thank you, madam.
You're welcome.
Children, so I feel like that is enough time for this question. So children,
Yes,
let's
Sanu
have
teacher,
a-
don't
yes,
give a lot of time.
that's what.
Yeah,
Okay,
because they have to get used to the time as well.
that's
Sir,
the
the
thing.
last part.
He's in the last part apparently. Since it's the first question, we'll give it 2 more minutes, will you?
And multiplying by 200 is not hard.
Yes, that's true.
First multiply it by 2 and then multiply it by 100. A hint. No, Sandhu teacher, these locals, they have to get to know of these short ways of calculations.
Yes,
It's not like the London students. They have the calculator, so they don't have to.
yeah, that's true. Right. So children, we'll discuss it, teacher, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So children,
Sir,
for
I
this
got the
question,
answer.
what did you get?
I got 001.7400.
We'll have a look. We'll discuss it. Now, children, this is the distance that we're looking for. Right? This is the height. Okay. So we have to use tan. Right? We know that tan theta is opposite over adjacent. Right? So, children, tan 30 degrees is equal to opposite over, oh, sorry,
H.
h over 200. Right? Now, children, we'll first multiply by 200. Right? So you get h equals to 200 times tan 30. Correct? Then you have to find the value of tan 30 from your table. Right? So children, Delight teacher, should I show them finding tan 30 from the table, or
No, I don't think. Now
you
tell
already know
them,
how
just
to do
will
it? Yeah.
ask. Yeah, children, you all have to get used to it.
Yes.
Find
Sir,
tan 30 and tell the answer. Some children, they must have got it. No, tell the answer, tan 30.
I got the answer. 0.0087.
We'll have a look. Okay, so children, now most of you are sending me the correct answer. So tan 30 is 0.5774. Right? Now you multiply by 200. Right? So when you multiply by 200, you end up with 115.48 meters. Right? So this is the correct answer. Right? So most of you had sent me this answer. Good job, children. Right? So that is the correct answer. Right?
Yeah, children, when you're multiplying by 200, what you have to do is shift the decimal place for 2 times and then 2 places and then multiply it by 2.
Yes. So children, if you didn't get it right, copy down this working, right? Take a screenshot, right? And make sure that you understand how to do this properly.
Sadhu teacher, Anuja's answer is correct.
No
The
delay.
table value. Table value?
He didn't tell me his table value.
Yeah, how much is that? I think he's having a problem with the table.
Yes. So I think he should
Madam,
really.
I got that wrong.
That's what, Anuja. You should really rewatch this video that I sent, because you have to
No,
know
sir,
how
the
to read.
problem I did was, sir, I just,
Yes, Anuja, tell. What's your problem?
madam, I got 1030 from the column, not from the row. When I recheck it, I got the mistake, madam.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. So as long as everyone
So
is
children, even if you all have problems like reading the table, please go through that video again and again and practice with your table as well. Just don't look at the video and wait. You also take the table closer to you. And when Sandhu teacher is explaining, refer to the table and you also try to get the value. Then you will learn.
yes,
Just don't
definitely.
watch the video.
That's true. Yes. So, Dilan teacher Praveen asks, is it correct if we round it off and put the value? So, I think he's asking after getting the value from the table. So, Putha, rounding off the final answer is one thing, but I don't think it's a good idea to round off the table value and then get the answer. Am I right, Dilan?
No, you can't. Yes, you can't take the table value rounding. Children, this is a huge number they have given for a 4 decimal place a number. So already it's not exactly what we are getting. It's not. All these are estimated values that when we do, we get. So it's always better use 4 decimal places and then final answer round it. There's no issue, final answer round it.
Yeah. So children, make sure you don't. He's talking about the final value. So final value, Puta. Now in this
Final
one, I
value
haven't
is that.
specified, right? But if the question says, you can round it off to whatever the question is asking,
Yeah,
right?
I
So
think Sandun teacher in O-level papers, they mention
yeah, yeah,
to 2 decimal places or 1 decimal
yeah.
places of significant figures, they mention.
Yes, that's correct. All right. So children, we'll move on to the next question, right? So children, the next question is this one. Okay. So read the question properly, do it, and send me the answer with a private message, right? Children, now when you're doing this question, you will face one point where you have to
Excuse me,
divide.
sir.
Yes, 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 Dua.
Sir, ask the opposite side. Do we want to use 6 meters or 12 meters?
Think about it. You're using half the triangle, no?
Yeah,
Yes,
let
sir.
her identify Sandun teacher.
I got the question.
Right. So children, as I was saying, now when you're doing this, it might, when you will get a point where you have to do a division with a big decimal, right? So that's why in this question I have said round the values from your trigonometry table to 1 decimal place for this question, right? So that means when you get the value from your trigonometry table, round that off to 1 decimal place for this question. That is to make things easier, right?
Sandun teacher, another hint is
Hmm.
always we can use these trigonometry ratios for right angle triangles, right?
That is true. Yes.
So then
That is
children, so you have to see where the right angle is performing and that triangle only you have to use.
exact.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Puta.
We usually use natural tangents to these questions. So,
Yeah.
sir, when we come to cos, should we use this natural contangents?
No, no, no. That is not cos. Cos is natural cosines. Okay, you'll see on the first 2 pages, natural cosines. Natural cotangents we don't use. Okay, natural cotangents we don't use. Okay, Dylan teacher, shall we explain the question? I think a lot of them have sent the answer as well.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so children, now you have to recognize, like Dylan teacher said, what the right angle triangle is. Children, this is the right angle triangle and this is the right angle, right? And children, the height is this. Okay, so we have to use tan 30 for this one because we have opposite over adjacent. Okay, so when we use tan 30, children, we get tan 30 degrees equals to 6 over h, right? Opposite is 6, adjacent is h, that is the height. Then children, we can multiply the h by the other side, you get this, and finally we make h the subject and you get 6 over tan 30, right? Now children, you have to go to your table and find the value of tan 30, right? So once you find that value, you will get, what did I get? I got 0.5774. 0.5, oh, 5774. Now children, the question says round your values from the trig table to 1 decimal place for this question. This is to make your question easier, children, right? Otherwise you will have to divide by a big decimal. Okay, so that's why they have asked to round it off. So if I round 0.5774 to 1 decimal place, that is 0.6. Okay, so see, 6 divided by 0.6 is 10 meters, right? So a lot of you had actually sent me more accurate answers. 10.3 something is actually the perfect answer, right? But children, when the question asks you to round off and get the answer, right? So the reason they're asking you to do that is to make it easier for you to divide. Okay, so there you go, children. This is how you get.
Yeah, Sanun teacher,
Yes.
if they want to get it as a multiplication, they can do as tan 60 as well.
Ah, yes.
Tan 60 also they can use it. So
Great.
they can get an accurate answer.
That is true. Okay, that's a good point. So children, I hope you understood what Deline teacher was saying there. So what Deline teacher is saying is you can consider the other angle. So if this is 30, then this angle should be 60 degrees, children, in a right angle triangle, right? You know the angles in a triangle have to add up to 180. So if you use this, then you get opposite over adjacent, you get h over 6. Then you can use a multiplication, right? Yes. So Sandu
So
actually
there
said,
they
sir, I
can,
wrote it the
yeah.
other way around. I multiplied by 6. So very good, Puta. Right? That is very good. Okay, that's a good trick.
So
All
can't
right.
we use log applications also?
But he's asking about log applications, Deline teacher. Is that what you asked?
Yes.
So can't we use
Yes. Yes, look.
log
Tell.
application?
I
Log
think
the application is used.
to
Tan
divide.
30 we are taking from log table only.
No, I think she's
Log the
asking about the
application in the
division.
sign.
I think she's asking about the division, Deline teacher, to divide whether she can use logarithms.
Ah, yes, yes, children. Yes, you can use. You can use the log for division and multiplication because there are 4
Yes.
decimal places.
So, children, the reason we didn't give you that is because we didn't go through that lesson together. So, there are some children who don't know how to do it. So, that's why I simplified this question by asking you to round it off to
Yes.
1 decimal place. But if you want the accurate answer, yes, you can use it, right, to do your division. Yes. Okay.
But
Right.
children, there's another thing. When the question says the round the values to your 1 degree, 1 decimal place, then stick into that.
Yes.
But still you can use the log
Yes.
table even if you have 1 dp, right? But stick into that.
Yeah, because you have to do what the question says, Deline teacher, isn't it?
Yes.
That's the thing. Otherwise, no matter, even if you use more time and effort, the teacher will mark it wrong. That's what will happen.
Yes, because they want you to follow the
Yes.
whatever the guidelines they are giving. Yes.
Yes. Okay, so children, we'll go to the next question. So this one, children, is a bearings question. Read it properly, draw a diagram, and do it, right? And send me the answers privately once you get the answer. So, Deline teacher, none of the students have sent me any of the answers yet. So I think they're taking some time to do the bearings question.
I
Children,
think Sanu teacher, they are still new to the table.
that
So
must be it as well.
yes, that must be the reason. Yes.
Yes.
Children, if you all have anything, any problem, you can just text Sandhu teacher and clear your doubts and do it. Because if you have any like problem, then we can help you like giving a small hint like that without waiting for a long time.
So one child tells me that it is a little bit difficult to understand. So Puta, my advice would be read the question again, right?
Draw a rough sketch.
Yes. You have to draw a sketch. Otherwise, this question is very difficult.
Yeah,
Right.
you can't do it. That must be the main reason that you all are struggling.
Always draw a sketch. Especially for bearings, isn't that right, Deline teacher? And trigonometry
Yes,
in general.
even if they have not given the diagram.
Yes.
So draw the sketch.
So Lisaridu, the image that you sent me is correct, right? That is the path of this ship. Yes. Only thing, I would draw it with a north, south, east, west, like a compass diagram as well. Children, did anyone do part A? If you all did part A, send me the answer to part A.
Excuse me, sir, is it 5 kilometers and 130 degrees from
Which part are you talking about? The part A or B?
what is it?
Part A is not 5 kilometers.
Then, sir, it should be 8 kilometers, sir.
Anuja, 5 kilometers is already they have given. That is also the ship is still moving. That 5 kilometers is also there. After that 5 kilometers, when it stopped, you have to find the distance. Isn't that so, Sanu teacher?
That's right. Children, if you all did part A, send me the answer to part A. No one did part A. Okay, I'll draw the diagram. Dylan teacher, shall I explain it? What do you think? Shall we wait for them to?
Yeah, we'll explain. I think this much of time they are taking because some they must have not understand.
Okay. So children, if we read the question, let's read it together. It says, a ship travels due south for 3 kilometers and then on a true bearing of 130 degrees for 5 kilometers. Right? So children, let's first draw a diagram for the movement of the ship. So children, these are the directions north, east, south and west. Okay, the ship travels first south for 3 kilometers. South is this way, right? I'll take another color, not very visible. South for 3 kilometers and then at a bearing of 130 degrees for 5 kilometers. Like this, children, right? Let's move this. Okay, so that means, children, this distance is 3 kilometers and this distance is 5 kilometers, right? At a bearing of 130 degrees, right? So first it moved down for 3 kilometers, that means south, and then on a true bearing of 130 degrees. So children, how do you measure bearing? From the north. From the north, 130 degrees for 5 kilometers, right? This is the motion of the ship. Okay, part A, find how far east the ship is from its starting point. So children, how far east means this distance here. How far east is the ship? Okay, so children, to find how far east the ship is, we need to consider this right angle triangle. And from this right angle triangle, children, we need to also find this angle, this small angle. So that is going to be 130 minus 90, which gives us 40 degrees. This is 40 degrees, right? Then children, we know that this is, now if you consider this small blue triangle, right, we know that cos 40 degrees is equal to this distance, the distance that it went east, right? So we'll call that x over 5, right? So we'll call this distance x, right? The distance east, if we take it as x, 5 is the hypotenuse, right? X is the adjacent. Okay, so cos 40 is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse, children, right? So from here we get x equals to 5 cos 40 degrees, right? Now children, cos 40 degrees, the value comes to 0.7660, right? But the question asks us to round it to one decimal place, which is 0.8, right? So 5 multiplied by 0.8 is 4 kilometers. Did anyone get this answer? Children?
With the unit.
Yes, with the unit. Children, did anyone get the answer?
No, sir.
Okay,
Not even for me, sir.
right. So now children, is this clear how you do part A? Right? Then children,
Anyone who got a different answer? Sanu teacher will check that as
yeah,
well.
yeah, definitely.
Anyone who got a different answer? No, no.
No. All right. Okay, so children, let's do part B. So part B is asking how far south the ship is from the starting point, right? So children, the total distance south is this one, right? Is this distance here. But this is made up of 3 kilometers here and also another distance y. Okay, that is this. We need to use trigonometry again to figure out this distance, right? So this time children, we can use sine 40, right? So sine 40 is equal to y over 5, right? Because y is the opposite and 5 is the hypotenuse. So sine 40 degrees is equal to y over 5. So y is equal to 5 sine 40 degrees, right? So children, sine 40 degrees, I get 0.6428 from the table. Okay, then right, so we have to round it off because the question says to take it to one decimal place, so that is going to be 0.6. So children, 5 times 0.6 gives us 3 if I'm not mistaken. Yes, okay, it gives us 3. Then children, you can see if this is going to be 3, then the total distance south is going to be 3 plus 3, right? That is going to be 6 kilometers south of the original. So the original position of the ship was at the center over here, right? From that center, it moved 3 kilometers north and then 5 kilometers at a bearing of 130 degrees. And then from the original position, it is 4 kilometers east x and it is 6 kilometers south. Children, is this clear? Children, if there are any questions, ask, because we've come to an end of today's lesson, right? So before we stop, if there are any questions, I'd like to know. Did everyone?
Yeah, because your homework sheet you have to do alone, right?
Yes.
So therefore clear all your doubts. And Sandhu teacher, I just, yes, Anuja. Anuja?
Sir, can sir again explain the part B part again? Please
Yeah.
how to.
Yeah. So Anuja, what happened here was, for part B, you need to find the total distance from the original position to where the ship is in the south direction, right? So that one, Puta, is divided into 2 parts. You can see it moved 3 kilometers south, and the rest of the distance it moved in a horizontal, in a diagonal direction, right? So that part I don't know what the distance is. That's why I take that as y. Okay, so then to find y, again I use this right angle triangle in blue and red, right? So here sine 40, opposite over hypotenuse, opposite is y, adjust hypotenuse is 5. Okay, and then I take the 5 to the other side, y equals to 5 times sine 40. Sine 40, I find the value from the table, right? So the table gives 0.6428. I round that to one decimal place because the question asks me to do so. 5 multiplied by 0.6 gives me the answer 3. So that means, Puta, the distance y is 3. And to 3, I add the original 3 as from before, right? So 3 plus 3 gives me 6 kilometers south in total. Did you get it, Anuja?
Yeah, why we at that trees, their question says from the starting point. right?
Yes.
That's the reason that we add the 3.
Yes. Clear, Anuja?
Anuja,
Madam, I think not much sure, madam.
still not yet sure? Okay, I'll explain it to you. Right? So same triangle. If you all have any problem looking at the diagram, you can draw this triangle in a right angle way and then do it. Right? So after that, you have to take, now earlier we took cos 40. Why we took cos 40? Because we are going to find the adjacent side. Right? Now we want the vertical side. Vertical. That means for sine 40, we are going to find y. Then it comes to again a value. After finding y, we get 3 kilometers. But they are asking in B, find how far south the ship is from the starting point. If you find only y, it's not the starting point. It is the place that it's going to turn towards 130 bearing. Right? So we want the original like starting point. We add the other 3 as well. Can you see it went down 3 kilometers now? So that 3 we have to add because it's starting point. Got it, Anuja?
Yes, madam.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think that's clear. Right. So children, does anybody else have any other questions? Okay. So Manindu says it's clear. So children, the last piece of advice I want to give you is please rewatch the video that I sent you in the WhatsApp group. I will ask the admins to resend it, right? Please watch it again. It's very important that you do, because if you can't read the table, children, you can't do any of these questions, right? To
Yes,
do
even
all.
if you know the method, even if you know the method of doing trigonometry, but still if you made the mistake from the table, the values, your answers are wrong. So
Yes.
children, please watch the video with the tables with you. Keep the table with you and follow what Sandun teacher is telling with your table. Don't like watching a movie, sitting and watch what Sandun teacher is telling. It's not going to help you. Okay? So follow with the table. Then you will learn.